into some of these pros and cons of gig work, not specifically just stating DoorDash, but let's get into some of the pros and cons of doing, whether it be DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Spark, any that type of gig work. Let's get into some of the pros and cons, because I'm sure that some of you may want to know. But before we get into that, I'm Jamielenearbusiness. You can just call me Jamie. Over here, I do lifestyle and travel content. And if that's your cup of tea, you know what to do. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and join the community. And for my returning subbies, what's up, my babies? What's up? Now, let's get into today's video. All right, so we got to start off with the good. The good of doing any type of gig work, because I'm pretty sure we want to know that first. Doing like DoorDash, Uber Eats, Lyft, Uber, we want to know the pros of doing it. And I got my notes on my phone, so if you see me look down, that's what I'm looking down at. So the first pro that I'm going to say is, I would say, having a flexible schedule. And that's a good thing about doing gig work, because you really don't have to answer anybody. You really just setting your own hours. You know, if you want to say off a time where we'll set a time so where I'm a dash or Uber around this time, you have the flexibility to do that. You just have to put it in your own schedule. And you also have the flexibility of not being able to work a 9 to 5 if you choose not to or not. So that's a good thing, a good benefit of working any type of gig work. Like I say, DoorDash, Uber Eats, anything with that. So that's my number one pro when it comes to doing gig work. My number two of pros is, I would have to say, quick money. Really quick money, easy. I have mine set up when it comes to DoorDash. I have the DoorDash card. So basically, the money automatically goes to the card. I don't wait till, because with DoorDash, you can get paid on a, if I'm not mistaken, I believe, direct deposit to your account on Monday. No, I don't have mine set up like that. I have mine set up where it goes directly to the card. So after basically every dash that I do, you know, the time that's scheduled, mine automatically goes to the card. So all I have to do is swipe that DoorDash card. So that is a pro for me when it comes to easy access income wise. Another pro I would have to say is the potential to get tips. Notice I said the potential to get tips on top of the money that you're already getting for any type of gig work. There is potential for that. Not necessarily guaranteed, but there is a potential for that. You do have some people out there that do have hearts and you do like to tip. I'm not going to take that from the people who do like to tip, but you do, you know what I'm saying? Don't always expect the tip, but you have the potential of getting a tip when it comes to on top of your money. So that's another pro for me. I would have to say is when it comes to DoorDash and Uber Eats. I'm not sure about the other gig work sites, but you have the ability to be able to dash or Uber in different locations. So you don't necessarily have to stay in one location to DoorDash or Uber Eats or things like that. You can move around. So basically I can move around. This area is not really paying that much money. Let me try to move to this area or find out which area makes the most money so I can increase my earnings or tips wise. So you don't basically have to stay in one location when it comes to being able to move around. You just have that flexibility when it comes to that. You don't have to stay in one location. And that's a pro for me. That's what I like about doing gig work on the side. Another pro for me would be, it was really easy to start. Really easy to start. They just want to make sure that you have a vehicle, which depending on the app, you don't necessarily have to have a vehicle because you can have a bicycle. DoorDash, you can have a bicycle to deliver people food depending on the area that they're in. So I would say it's low cost to start. They just mainly want to make sure when you fill out that application that are you driving a car or are you using a bike. So you just check that when you're filling out the application. But like I say, it's easy to start. They just want to make sure you have a car, registration, insurance. They're going to do your background check. Now, you have some gig sites, I believe, that don't, I can't remember, that maybe don't really, I don't think they do a background check. I'm not sure. Don't quote me. Yeah, I'm not really sure. But they're going to do a background check. I know for sure DoorDash and Uber Eats does a background check. But just basically, it's low cost to start, easy to start. You really don't need that much. So even if you don't have a car and you check, I got a bike, you can, depending on if you got restaurants close by and you stay in an apartment, you can dang on ride your bike to the restaurant and get that customer's food and deliver it to their apartment if it's right there within the vicinity to your house. So that's another pro for me when it comes to doing DoorDash, Uber, any type of gig work. I would have to say the next pro for me is, depending on your job that you're at, if you have a job or not, you don't sit at a desk all day, every day. You don't have to sit there at a desk every day. And I sit at a desk when it comes to doing my work, so I don't have to worry about sitting at that desk every day. I can get up, move around, go ahead when I want to, and click that start dashing on that phone. That's a pro about gig work. Now we're going to get into some of the cons. And I feel like some of the cons for me might outweigh the pros. Or they might be neck and neck. I'm not sure. But y'all already know how I feel about the no tip thing. And that is a number one con, because that could be a pro or a con. So that would be the number one con on my list, because you're not guaranteed to get tipped. You're not guaranteed. And that's just like being a waitress. You know, on the service, you're not guaranteed to get tipped at all. Don't expect that at all, because you're not guaranteed to get it. Because you could have a dash that's, let's say, 0.6 miles and the order come in for $3.25. We already know that's not no tip. So don't expect a tip when it comes to DoorDash or any type of gig work. That's up under the cons for me. Another con for me is, Lord, the wear and tear that any type of gig work DoorDash puts on your vehicle. Matter of fact, that's a major con for me. The amount of miles that you put on your vehicle doing gig work. And it really depends on if you work in a 9-to-5 or if you're needing extra money to pay bills. Depends on how much money, how much you're going to dash up or Uber up to be able to pay your bills. It's a lot of wear and tear on your vehicle when it comes to gig work. Because you're going from point A to point B to drop this off, to pick this up. You have to think about that. Is your vehicle really equipped for that? And then you have some apps, depending on what you're doing, you can always rent a vehicle, but you got to realize now, stuff that costs money too. So you got to weigh the pros and cons. Is it worth it to rent a vehicle? Is it worth it? Is my money going to still be the same? Is the money going to match up? You have to think about that. Because in order to rent a vehicle, you're still going to need your driver's license, insurance. And I know with Lyft, they're going to take the money up out of, you just pay the security deposit, and then they take the money up out of your check when after you're finished with the rides. In order to keep the vehicle, you have to at least do like 20 rides. Something like that. You have to do 20 rides, and it's like maybe $200 a week. So if you're making, the week you made $700 or something, take that 200 out and leave you with the rest when it comes to Lyft or something like that. Because you can rent a vehicle to do these things, but you just have to make sure that you have a driver's license and insurance and registration is in your name. So that's a con. A lot of wear and tear, miles put on your vehicle. Another con of mine is the competitiveness of it. When I say that there are a lot of DoorDash drivers, Uber drivers, Grubhub drivers, Instacart drivers, it's a lot of competition. It's a big competitive environment. So you might have somebody who's might be platinum and getting all the good orders, and you get the scraps if your percentage rate is not where it needs to be. So you have to think about that. I know I filled out to do Instacart and I think it's shipped, but it's a wait list. So you have to think about, is it available in your area? It's a wait list. You have to think about things like that. It's very competitive. And you have to see if you're ready for that when it comes to doing gig work. Oh, yeah. Another con of mine is really the income is not consistent. And that's like being on YouTube. The income is not consistent. If you're monetized, it's not consistent. And with gig work, it's not consistent. You might make something one day, but the next day you might not make that. If you want it to be consistent, you would have to gotta be consistent. You get what I'm saying? Like, income is really not consistent at all. You just never know when it comes to these apps. And see, these apps, they really don't, a lot of times they really don't pay enough. So you got to think about that. And I tell people, you just got to shop around, see which app works for you, which app you're gonna make the most money. So that's a con of mine. It's really just not consistent. Another con of mine is, and I believe I see now that DoorDash just added it on. I don't know if the other apps have that. I don't think all of the apps have it, these gig work apps, but there's really no benefits, which I really don't have to worry about that because I go to the VA. I go to the VA, but I need something like maybe like 401k or dental because I don't get that through the VA. But depending on the app, it might not be no benefits, which I know DoorDash and Uber has benefits now. And I haven't really tapped into that. But depending on the app, some apps might not have no benefits. So if you're looking for benefits, you got to shop around and see which app you want to do and does that app offer benefits. So you have to think about things like that. You just have to do what works best for you. You get what I'm saying? So nothing is too... It's basically a win-win situation. The pros and the cons, I would have to say they're neck and neck. You know what I'm saying? So you just have to do what's best for you and what works for you in this economy. You get what I'm saying? So whether it be doing DoorDash, Uber Eats, Ship, Spark, Instacart, do what works best for you. And like I said, I wouldn't advise nobody to quit their 9 to 5 unless you have a backup plan and you're working something or that backup plan pays you more than what your job pays you. That's all I'm gonna say, because you already see that it's tough out here. So, but leave in the comments your pros and cons of doing gig work. And I will catch y'all, I believe, what's this? Vlogtober day, hold up, what Vlogtober day this is? I will catch y'all on Vlogtober day 15. I don't believe I mentioned that in the beginning that we're on Vlogtober day 14. But I will catch y'all on Vlogtober day 15. Bye.